Hi folks, I'm Dale Earnhardt. Welcome to my story. My friend here, Neil Bonnett's going to help me tell it.
Folks, we're going to take you behind the scenes with Dale. A lot of things you'd like to see and know about him. We're going to tell you that. We've also got one full week behind the scenes with him when he wins one of the biggest races on the circuit. We'll show you a lot of stuff you know and a bunch of it that you don't know. And you might not want to know it all, but we're going to tell you.
Of the United States, Mr. President. Thank you all very much. And I can think of no better place to wish our nation happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July, than standing right here with this patriotic, wonderful turnout of people, all American crowd. Thank you very much.
Dale? Mr. President, Dale Earnhardt is our current champion. He has a presentation.
Mr. President, on behalf of all the NASCAR Winston Cup drivers in the race today, we've got a little present here for you to take back. It's a flag that we've all signed. All our autographs are on it, so you don't have to go around and get autographs from us. So, we're really proud to have you here and honored to have you here. We hope you enjoy the race today, and I hope Richard Petty does pretty good too.
Okay. Great. Thanks a lot.
It's hard to believe, amazing really, that Dale Earnhardt will be making a special presentation to the President of the United States of America. The incredible story of one of the greatest racers of all time begins in the small town of Kannapolis, North Carolina.
Dale Earnhardt entered his first race, the human race that is, on April 29, 1951. One of 5 children born of Ralph and Martha Earnhardt. Dale grew up in this house in Kannapolis, just a few miles from where the Charlotte Motor Speedway stands today. Ralph Earnhardt built and maintained his own cars in a small garage behind the house. Nobody really knows how many races he won during his 23-year career on short tracks across the Carolinas. But when he rolled into town, he was the man to beat. And I can vouch for that. I had the good fortune of racing against Ralph Earnhardt for many years on the short tracks around the Carolinas and the southeastern part of the country. We would race many times, 4 or 5 times a week. His cars were always prepared to the absolute best. You couldn't catch him on an off night because he didn't have those. He was always up near the front. So if you beat him, you had to be the best that night yourself. But I've said many times that if there was ever a chip off the old block, it's Dale Earnhardt.
What does it do for a guy to think that he started out as
Standing on a flatbed truck
at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, yeah,
watching Richard Petty.
and here you are.
It's amazing, really. You wouldn't believe it would happen to somebody from Kannapolis, North Carolina, from the cotton mill town. And my dad was a mechanic and a racer, and that's all I wanted to be, was a racer. And you know, dreams come true.
Now his wife Martha, which is Dale's mother, of course, and my wife Martha were good friends, so they spent a lot of time together in the infield while we were out on the racetrack racing. And Ralph and I became good friends, but there were times when we would have some run-ins on the racetrack, but you couldn't stay mad at him. He was the type of a guy, he'd come up to you, even if he hit you and knocked you off the track, put his arm around you and say, "Ned, I didn't mean to hit you that hard going into that turn," and you just couldn't help but like him. And I'm certainly glad that I got to race against him.
In 1956, Ralph Earnhardt won 32 feature events on 11 different tracks to claim the NASCAR Sportsman Division Championship. In 1989, Ralph Earnhardt was inducted into the National Motorsports Press Association Hall of Fame. Ralph Earnhardt was one of the first men to turn stock car racing into a full-time profession, and he lit a fire in son Dale that burns white hot today. Dale's childhood friend and Busch Grand National crew chief, Tony Urey.
When he first started driving race car, you could see it in him. It was just there. He was just like his daddy. He was hard to handle. I think his daddy knew he was that good. They used to practice the dirt cars, and Dale would run the modified, and his dad ran the sportsman cars. His dad would get him behind him and push him. He'd just see how far he could push him in the corner, see if he could carry him in there too fast. He couldn't ever carry him in there too fast. I mean, it was there.
Ralph Earnhardt never saw his devoted son win a Winston Cup race. He died while working on a carburetor in that backyard garage. Ralph Earnhardt was only 45 years old.
But then after his dad died and Dale got into asphalt, he started running asphalt at Hickory and all, he had a pretty hard time of it there. Well, as a matter of fact, first time we went to Daytona in '76, we rode around half the night trying to get sponsor money, collecting from people so we'd have enough money to get there. It was pretty rough at that time.
Earnhardt moves in as if he wants to pass. Let's see if he'll take a shot at him right here. There they go into the back straightaway. Earnhardt looking for perhaps first place when they enter turn 3. He drops it down a little, comes to the inside. Baker is down to the inside, back there in the 4th position. Inside of Cale Yarber on the front 4. Still a second apart as they blast by at over 190 miles per hour. Donnie Allison's car, they report, is showing some smoke. Number 1, Allison's car. The observers are vigilantly watching now as they fear he may be losing an engine. And they say now that it may be tire smoke off car number 1, Allison's car. Let's see if Earnhardt is going to take a shot at Neil Bonnet. Drops down inside, pulls up, goes for the lead. Earnhardt from 32nd position is taking the lead in the 59th lap, actually in the 60th lap. We're working.
After years of struggling, Dale finally got his break when Rod Osterlund signed him to drive his cars for the 1979 season. In April of that year, he won his first race in just his 16th Winston Cup start. His family met him back at his father's garage to celebrate the win. Dale went on to win the Rookie of the Year title and stunned everyone, including himself, by winning the Winston Cup Championship the very next year.
What we were doing, we went to Ontario, California, the last race, racing Cale Yarber and Junior Johnson for the championship.
And really didn't realize
and tried to give it away all day long at the race. I mean, we made bum pit stops and got behind a lap, made a lap up, ended up finishing. Should have won the race, really. The car was running good enough to win the race. Ended up finishing 5th or 7th, 5th, I think. Yeah, 5th. And won the championship by just a few points. Cale beat Cale and Junior out and really didn't realize what we'd done. We'd beat the Masters out at the championship, and Richard Petty won it the year before, and here we are champions this year. And I was at the banquet as a rookie the year before, and Richard Petty sitting up there and said, you know, in the remarks when they present your trophy, said, man, I just, you know, hopefully someday I can be up here, you know, where Richard's at.
Happened pretty quick,
but
though.
No, there next year. And pretty exciting deal. Really, when I started off after my dad, I started off driving when my dad was living. Well, he died, and you know, I got the opportunity to go with some asphalt racing with Gray London and helped us out and buy a car and from Harry Gant. But I just started doing it and didn't think about where I was at and where I was going, and we just worked like heck and got to the racetrack and raced, and that's what it was all about. Didn't know why we were really doing it, other than that's what we wanted to do and enjoyed it.
1981 should have been a great year for Dale. Instead, it was a disaster. In mid-season, Osterlund sold the team to businessman Jim Stacy. Their relationship was brief.
All of a sudden, we were working and driving for somebody that we didn't know, and basically when we went over and sat down and talked to him in the office, he said, well, you can stay or you can go. It really don't matter to me. And I said, whoa, driving for a guy that really don't care. So we run for him for a couple of races, and got to talk with the Richard Childers, and Junior Johnson really helped me a lot on advice, and I don't know why, because I turned him down from driving, but he helped me out a lot that year, and talked with Richard and Wrangler, and we all give Stacy our notice down Talladega, and he said, I don't want no notice, go ahead and go. So Wrangler and myself and went with Childress, and he, for the last 10 races that year, and I did a good job.
I know how when you race all the time, you get so involved with race car, that's the only thing you think about. When did you start thinking about the business side of it, the security side, the dealership, the farm and stuff like that? How did all that come about?
The money side of it, probably about 81 when 81 I got custody of Kelly and Dale Jr. and they started living with me, and I just sort of got more responsible about things, started thinking about the future, what if tomorrow. In 80 I bought the house over at the lake, went dead over $100,000, and I thought, God, I'll never pay this off. Never owned a house before. I mean, I've rented trailers or rented apartments. Here I am with $100,000. How am I going to pay for this thing? Racing paid for it, but I think that's when it sort of turned around on me. I started looking at trying to invest in the future.
There goes number 15, back in front. The old tough customer, Dale Earnhardt, is back into the lead another time.
Dale signed with veteran car owner Bud Moore for the 82 and 83 seasons, and old Bud has been in NASCAR's trenches for over 30 years and has the perspective that only a man who stormed Normandy on D-Day could have.
I know that Dale was one of the most upcoming race drivers back then, so we figured, well, he'd be a good driver for us. I know one thing, Dale is the most talented and most aggressive young driver that I have ever encountered in a race car. I know one of Dale's biggest philosophy, after a few races he drove for me, and we got together on a lot of things, how to do this and how not to do. He'd always tell me, say, you fix the car, I'll drive it. And he'd drive it too.
Yeah, well, he calmed me down some, but also if I'd get in behind somebody racing them and sit there and rode for 5 or 10 laps, okay, time to get the bumper to them. All right, you've been behind me. They're holding you up, they're holding you up. He was rough, but he wanted to go. But I think he was that way just as much as I was in the car. I'm trying to be patient and trying to wait in the right moment, and he's wanting me to get on in there and get it. So it was two competitive guys that got together, and it was a lot of fun driving for him. But like I said, it was good for my career.
When you got a guy like Dale and that's his ability to drive a race car and as determined he is to win the race, then he's hard to beat.
When Dale was driving for Bud Moore, I'd already been racing against him for several years. I thought I really knew Dale, but then I found out we had more than one thing in common. Other than driving race cars, we both love to fish. Other than a race car, this is Dale's favorite place in the world. It's a 300-acre farm, and he built this fish pond, and he's having a new log home built. And Dale will take us through his home in just a minute. But right now, we got to get our hooks wet. We'll get the minions, we'll crowd the bass now. Bumper to bumper.
Catfish stay on this side, bass stay on that side. Can't wait to get that house done. Been working that thing on over a year now. You missed one over there, you should go back.
I can't, you're the captain. You drive it. I know that
yeah, but I think you could reach that, can't you?
Well, I'll just try it then. And if I catch one, you're going to claim him for showing him to me.
Don't let me hook you.
At least I've been hurt, I promise. I'll try not to hit you anymore like I did before.
That one day we was fishing, you knocked me out of the boat.
I didn't mean to.
Well, I wouldn't play like it hurt me, but it hurt.
I kind of felt bad about it.
I bet.
I mean, I almost felt bad about that.
Yeah.
You were out fishing me real bad that day.
Said, get out of my way.
Tried to slow you down.
Look out now, you're going to get bit. Who would ever thought? I got to change lures. Mine's not biting too good.
Blaming it on equipment?
Blaming it on equipment. It's like when you lose, you had the wrong gear or wrong springs or something in. I got the wrong lure on. But I've enjoyed my life racing, and I think the The only thing that I'd change, went back in life is, of course, my dad was here to see it all, but
Yeah.
you know, you can't change things like that, so you know, hopefully.
Yeah, but you know, one side of it, Dale, just, you know, he accomplished a lot in racing. And now, with the stuff you're doing, I think it really, people look a little deeper and see what he did and realize, you know, how successful he was.
That's true.
It brought a lot of light back on what your dad did accomplish.
Yeah, I'll tell you, a couple years ago, they put him in the Hall of Fame down there at the Darlington. That really was a neat deal. That was a pretty neat weekend. Ended up winning the race Sunday, too. You know, I think that's like today. I mean, we've won 5 championships and we've accomplished a lot, but still, I mean, I still get in that race car and get after it and get as excited about it as I did the first time I drove it. So I don't think I've lost any drive or fire about it.
And wouldn't you know it, I catch a fish and my so-called buddy throws it right back. Yeah.
Ain't got a camera, so we can't take a picture.
Richard Childress is an amazing success story in his own right. He raced for 12 seasons on the NASCAR circuit, and though he never made it to victory lane racing his own cars, he's been there plenty of times as Dale Earnhardt's car owner. When Rod Osterland sold his team in '81, Childress made a decision that would make racing history.
Well, you know, I talked with some of the people at R.J. Reynolds and told them, you know, I could see the trend coming with the car owners coming in. I couldn't afford to keep running my cars, so at that time they had mentioned, one of them had told Dale about my situation, so it was just timing was all it was. That, you know, at the time, you know, I was kind of wanting to become a car owner, and he needed a car to drive, and I had it, and we did real well those first races, and about halfway through it, you know, he had to make a decision where he was going the next year, and I just was truthfully, I said, I'm just not set up to run a championship driver right now. I said, maybe someday it'll turn around and we can get back together. And he told me the other 2 options he had, and you know, he asked me what I thought about it, and I told him, you know, at that point, the 2 that he had, Bud Moore would have been the way I would have went, you know, being I was a current driver at the time. So it turned out to work real good for him.
While Dale was racing with Bud Moore, Richard Childress was building his team. Ricky Rudd won twice for Childress, and even though Junior Johnson showed interest in Dale, Earnhardt rejoined Richard Childress for the '84 season.
You know, we stayed friends through the whole 2 years that Ricky drove for me, and you know, it was real good having him with me, and I think Bud did Dale some good, and it was just a good situation for us that 2 years. And you know, for him to come and drive for us in '84 and '85, you know, we knew we were under the gun because he did have a top ride offered at him, and we had a lot we had to prove. And with Junior Johnson's car, you know, it was a proven winning team at the time.
$36,000 at stake, and Dale Earnhardt, who's been outside on this race, the Atlanta Journal 500, is about to step into victory lane. He's out of turn number 4, coming down. Checkered flag is unfurled, and Earnhardt takes it home. Dale Earnhardt is victorious by just about a half second over Bill Elliott in second place. A very happy crew for Dale Earnhardt and the Richard Childress people.
In 1984, Earnhardt and Childress combined for 2 wins and finished 4th in the point standings. In '85, they won 4 races, but their business relationship was at the proverbial fork in the road.
Yeah, I guess it was in '85 was probably the toughest year we had ever had, you know, together. I think we lost 11 engines, and we came back from, I think it was Pocono. We had just lost an engine up there early, and he rode back, and, you know, we talked about it, and I said, look, I said, at this point, I said, you too good a driver to be out here falling out of races and not being competitive like we've been. And I said, you know, I'll let you out of your contract. You need to be driving for somebody else. And he told me, he said, no, I'm going to stick it out. He said, we're in this thing together. We're in it as a team. We'll fix it as a team. And it was the best thing that ever happened for us.
In 1986, Dale Earnhardt took 5 checkered flags. Even more impressive, the team finished in the top 5 23 times. All the hard work and unrelenting consistency paid off. Dale Earnhardt won his 2nd Winston Cup title.
And when we did win another one in '86, it meant sort of realized what really was going on, you know, and why I was in Winston Cup racing, why I wanted to race so bad and wanted to win so bad. It's, you know, it was really fun to win that '86 championship, knowing it wasn't a fluke the first time I won it. You know, everybody say, oh, well, it's a fluke. You just lucked into that deal. They're not never going to get another. Now we're 5-time champions. You know, in '86 and '87, the confidence came to me that, hey, I am an accomplished Winston Cup driver, and I'm going to have a ride with somebody, with, you know, this one stays here or not. But fortunately, I've been able to work with Richard Childress and the guys, and Kurt, and those guys have been great to work with, and I've been there for so long. I don't see me going anywhere, really. Don't see any need in it.
If he's not at a racetrack, you'll find Dale at his farm. He gets there before the sun comes up and spends every spare moment he can there. After he feeds his dogs, his daily routine begins.
My daily deal right here, riding the farm first thing in the morning, check the fence, make sure everything's all right, everybody's all right, all the cows is okay. Everybody had a good night's rest. All of them still there. Ain't nobody left home. Where's strip over time? Huh? Look at it. Bad, ain't it?
After Dale has finished checking on his animals and his property, he heads back to the shop to discuss the day's work with his farm help.
Hey, I done knocked it over one time, set it back up, and it was unscathed, it still works. Set up. Jason comes along, knocks it over, and jerks the wireless. All right, let's get after it. Feed the animals.
Ron Simmons fights tonight.
Hey, don't think Dale Earnhardt is sitting in his air-conditioned office while everyone else is hard at work. The guy just loves to roll up his sleeves and sweat.
How big's that bass you caught a while ago?
About 6.5. The new log home above the lake is his pride and joy. Dale's wide open about everything he does. But this house is the only thing I've ever seen him slow down for.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to be down there fishing a while ago. We stand up here on the deck right now and look down there at the lake, but we built this house in the lake, built the lake, then built the house over it. So it's going to end up nice. We got a great view of the lake. I'm going to trim some limbs on down. You can hear them around the side of the house working down the yard, but it ended up being a pretty nice log house. Don Pence with Colonial Structures and them put the logs up for us. Nice rock work, heavy duty work. Come on inside, I'll show you around.
Should have made it a little bit bigger.
Teresa made it bigger. This house started on planning it. And we was like, okay, this is how big it's going to be. And every time we drawed or wrote something out on paper, it got bigger and bigger, bigger,
What it is, they keep cutting more logs.
Well, the logs got longer. We got more of them, but...
Oh, I smell a lot of cedar.
Yeah, the bedroom was probably going to be about this big when we first started out. Now it's the whole end of this house, this end section. Taylor's bedroom is just about this big too. But it's still not big enough for everything I want to buy her, so.
I don't want to remind you that this bedroom here is bigger than his daddy's race shop.
You know what, really, actually, when the shop he started out in wasn't this big. And the one I moved out of was about half big as this house. Top floor. Pretty neat.
Dale's new home is the result of years of hard work and dedication. Today, he has the opportunity to slow down a little bit and enjoy a late afternoon horseback ride with his beautiful wife, Teresa, and their daughter, Taylor Nicole.
Down for the final laps. A couple to go for Earnhardt. On his way, this will sprint him up in those point standings in front of Elliott by a pretty good margin.
Dale backed up his '86 season with a year that was flat incredible. 11 wins on every type of track on the circuit, including his remarkable victory at the Winston.
Underneath him, and Dale won't buy it. And if you notice right there, Keith, there was a little bit of paint changed in his hands right there, too. Elliott now getting a challenge from Tim Richmond, but he closes again right in behind Earnhardt, coming down off turn 4. And Earnhardt loses it, goes on the grass, comes back, and Elliott goes inside. And Earnhardt still got the lead. Incredible.
Dale clinched his third title with 3 races remaining on the schedule. Dale Earnhardt and the Richard Childress team were dominant.
Great.
Well, watching him on TV when he first started out in the Wrangler car, the way he drove, his intensity, I like that.
By the end of that amazing 1987 season, the legend of Dale Earnhardt was in high gear. I know Richard Petty's got a lot of fans, and Bill Elliott has a large following, not to mention Darrell Waltrip and Rusty Wallace. But let me tell you, those of you who pull for Dale are as loyal as they come.
Who are you pulling for today?
Dale Earnhardt.
Of course. Why do you pull for him?
Because he's great. 5-time champion.
Excuse me, who are you pulling for today?
Oh, Dale Earnhardt. Without a doubt.
Why do you pull for Dale?
He's the best driver out on the track.
But why is he your favorite driver?
Just because he drives. He drives. He's the only one out there that's aggressive enough to do it every weekend, no matter what kind of car he's got. He's an intimidator. He's a man to beat.
Is that just like you?
Unbeatable. Dominant.
Dale truly appreciates his fans. And many of you stood in that long line to get Dale's autograph. Let me show you what it looked like from Dale's side at one of those autograph sessions.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Okay, there's your postcard right there. All right, lay it up here. Took her an hour to get here, and the line's doubled since then. 'Cause that's where the end of the line. That's where the end of the line is at.
Good luck, Sunday.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you coming out tonight. Smile. Smile. Look at the camera. Say, Mommy, snap away. Where'd you get that red hair at? Thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right. Baby done wet on me, Lord, Lord. You can have that for spare. Look out now.
Wait a minute.
Make me nervous. Any more of that chewing gum? You get in, I'll load the wagon. Where we at? What position we in? How you doing, cutie pie? I hate to sign your driving license. Hey, how you doing, man? You doing okay? You've been through line one time already before. Yeah, it is. Who are you? Why, heck yeah. All right. Race fans are the greatest people in the world, and they love you, they hate you. I mean, they
ain't much in between.
No, when you're racing hard and you're aggressive and you're young, you come in here and you start beating some of the guys they've been pulling for all these years. It's tough on them. But I think the race fans over the years have become to learn Dale Earnhardt like he really is, like I am here, away from the track. And they know when I sit down at a race car, I'm going to drive a race car and give them a good show or a good race. I'm just like Richard Childress. He's built that race car and put 100% into it. I'm going to give him 100% in that driver's seat.
Yeah.
And if it means getting in there in a tight situation, I can do it.
Spot in, wham!
But the race fans have been tough on me over the years, which they have on most people. But now they're, pretty much behind me. The majority of them. We built a good following, and But I like to give the race fans their money's worth when you go race, whether I go race at Winston Cup racing or a short track somewhere for a paid appearance or whatever, or go sit down and sign autographs.
Is this just a test run of next Sunday's Daytona 500? I believe so. Here they come to the line, coming down for the checkers.
The 1988 and 89 seasons were again strong campaigns for Dale Earnhardt. He picked up 8 more wins, but both years he came up just shy of capturing more championship glory. Both years he was behind the Winston Cup champion by just 12 points when the final checkered flag of the season was dropped. Now, if you think racing is all about fame, big money, and nonstop excitement, well, you're dead wrong. As a champion, Dale represents the entire sport. The demand on his personal time is heavy, to say the least.
Between the sponsor, the time I spend with the race car itself, 3 days a week, and maybe probably 20 days a year testing, and then the time you spend with the sponsor is about 20 days a year, and then the time you spend with your businesses, you know, is a lot of time. There's not much time for me and you to go fishing, is there?
Yeah, I know it.
I mean, you know, the biggest thing that I do, and I've been fortunate to be able to do it, is I book my deer hunting up way ahead of time.
Yeah, there's a few of them on the wall right here, I'm telling you, some nice deer.
My hunting comes, you know, and it's not really just going out and hunting deer or whatever. It's going out and enjoying nature, getting outside and doing something you enjoy, and coming down to your place. Me and you go out there, and ain't no telling what we're gonna get into. Get up a tree in the foot part of the tree stand of yours falls, and I can't get down the tree. I'm 30 foot up in there, wondering how I'm gonna get down there. Have to shimmy down the tree.
I think it's more just getting away from it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Dale, I can give you a little insight on it. I know when I was able to race all the time, I couldn't wait to go fishing and hunting, couldn't wait to get away. And now I have that time, and it doesn't mean as much. I think that...
No, I think it means as much. You just wanting to go racing more
well,
than
that's
you
what I'm saying. The racing thing meant so much to me.
You're just getting too much hunting and fishing.
Maybe. That's sure Miss Six ain't got to go, though, I tell you. But it's and that touches on another thing in racing. We talked about it before. You almost got to be careful about getting close relationships, close friendships in racing, because you got to battle that guy on a given day.
You do, but it doesn't bother me. That's just like you and I. We've had such a great relationship over the years, but we race each other as hard on the racetrack as you thought we was enemies. People would think, because we get in there door to door and rub and race and go right on.
I always thought that's when it's most fun, didn't you?
Well, that's what it's all about. And we had a good time, and we sort of respected each other over the deal, had a mutual respect. But we get out in cars, and you're about the only person I've really been able just to leave the race car and the race car at the racetrack and go fishing or hunting. I know if I went down to your place and go hunting, and there ain't been a word said about a race car. No, I mean, the whole time we've been together down there, you know, we spent days down there hunting and never talked about race car ever. Right. And it just seems we've always had that understanding, and it's always been fun to go do stuff with you, or you come up here and do stuff, because the race car was where it needed to be, and we were where we needed to be. Now, you know, we got some things planned, like we tested and stuff, we sit down and talk racing. But we've been able to race and put it away and go on, but
Earnhardt challenging for the lead. This in lap 169. He's back in front. Earnhardt, number 3, back for first place.
Dale went hunting another championship in 1990 and bagged his prize. There was no denying Earnhardt after 2 years of runner-up finishes. Dale was nearly as dominant as he was in 1987. He won 9 times and set a single-season record, bringing home over $3 million in prize money. Dale and Mark Martin staged a classic duel that went down to the final race of the season. Dale won his 4th championship by 26 points. 1991 was another season marked by unfaltering consistency. Dale notched another 4 victories, but the key to the season was 21 top 10 finishes. It seems fitting that Dale's 18-year-old son, Dale Jr., has started to race now.
Just something I've grown up around in every aspect, and it's really something I enjoy and something I want to do for my whole life.
It's something that you can really get excited about, and I know you probably feel the same way. You get so excited about it, then they go out there and they race one night and they get in an accident or tear the car up or something. They come home and you're mad about getting the car tore up as they are, and heard about it. And I sort of get aggravated with my guys because Kerry and Dale Jr. is they tear up their car and it's not really. I don't know whether they don't seem as interested as I did when I was starting.
About fixing it.
About fixing it.
Yeah.
It's fired up because usually I tore mine up on Saturday night. I done had it tore apart on Sunday and was putting it back together on Monday.
Yeah.
And these guys, they sort of hang around about Wednesday before they get going good on it, and then they get closer to a race, get to think about it, I reckon. But it's pretty neat.
Dale Jr.'s car is a replica of the one his grandfather, Ralph, raced. And he's racing on dirt tracks that are very similar to the ones that his dad grew up on.
It's just something. He gets in there and helps a lot, and I really like to watch him help, because it shows me how much he's interested in me doing as good as I can, you know.
It's sort of like my daddy always told me. He said, I'll help you if you help yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the philosophy I've sort of tried to raise Dale Jr. and Kelly and Kerry and Taylor Nicole's raising me, is to, you know, if they'll get out there and help themselves, I'll help them any way I can. And that's all I ask them to do.
We promised you an inside look at a remarkable week in the life of Dale Earnhardt. It all begins right here at Charlotte Motor Speedway with NASCAR's all-star event, the Winston, and ends with the most demanding race of the year, the Coca-Cola 600.
NASCAR's equivalent of an all-star game is the Winston. The players are the best in the sport. Now, this event is not for the racing purist, but it is a great place to see the stars, and there's big money on the table. The format, 30 laps. Start the winner at the back of the pack for the next 30-lapper. Line them up again. The first man there is $200,000 richer. It's very simple. Dale doesn't complain about the format. He said he'd run the race in reverse for that kind of dough. Matter of fact, he's the only guy to win this race twice since its start in 1985. Need more drama? How about the first race ever under the lights on a super speedway? And don't forget the full moon.
Stock Car Racing's all-star event, it's underway. And it's Davey Allison out quickly with a lead. Rusty Wallace in second. Back straightaway. Schrader in third. Trouble back straightaway. Jarrett comes around. Morgan Shepherd's into him.
Mike Walter, we got a car.
We got one on fire over there.
That Strickland hit the wall. Looked like it knocked the fuel pump off or something. It caught on fire, but it's out.
And we're under caution. 3 laps in.
With the exception of that first incident, the first 30-lapper is pretty uneventful. Davey Allison's Thunderbird slices through the night air like a hot knife through butter. Impressive, but who really is packing the heat?
And Richard Petty coming right in behind him. Richard got around Dale. Here comes Dale back on the inside.
Earnhardt right back, and Ernie Irvin is there. Last lap. Out of turn number 4 for $50,000. Felix Sabates, Mellow Yellow Pontiac. Kyle Petty gets 50 grand. Ernie Irvin, $15,000 for second. Dale Earnhardt for third, margin 1.78 seconds, first to second. And the next segment, they will start straight up.
The moment of truth has arrived. Even the men who built these cars don't know who's got the upper hand, but now it's time to read them and weep.
I tell you, that damn cow's gone,
Now, let's see how strong Kyle is in the corner if he can get away from Earnhardt.
You better watch this 28. I'm telling you, that car is accelerating.
Earnhardt took the lead around Kyle, but there comes the 28 up inside like a rocket.
With nobody to draft with, he's going to pop up into second place.
Stay tight, baby. Stay tight, baby. Drive her hard, wide open every lap. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Go, Bill.
White flag
lap to go.
He's going to get a shot at him.
Davey Allison coming up, but I don't think will be a factor. Kyle just hauls it off the corner. He's got the inside. He's up to Earnhardt's bumper. Earnhardt takes it.
They're on the racing service down on the left part of the racetrack.
And it's Kyle Petty. Kyle Petty coming to the checkered flag. Here comes Davey Allison to the bottom. It'll be the finish everyone was waiting for. They crashed past the finish line. They have crashed into turn number 1. And Davey Allison is in a shower of sparks.
You can't imagine the heartbreak for Dale, but hey, he went down swinging. The last thing he wants to do is talk with the press, but it comes with the uniform. You can see the fire in his eyes as he enters the team's inner sanctum. The track reopens in just 4 days, and you can bet Dale will be back with his war paint on when they open the gates again.
Let's go. Let's go. Bring it around.
It's right here.
Bring it around up here in the garage.
Whole day. Sleepy mechanics unloading, setting up, a routine they've gone through 1,000 times. Capturing the pole at Charlotte's a big deal. You get to puff out the chest with all the corporate hotshots in town. It's a long, grueling day. Gears, shocks, springs, sway bars, caster, camber. Each component is checked and rechecked. The combination that worked here last time may be out to lunch today. Dale's Busch team is here too, and it's a tedious process for driver and crew. Dale's input is crucial. If he's unable to tell each team where the car is off, believe it, it will stay bad. Nobody likes the technical inspections. The NASCAR officials pull out their magnifying glasses while the mechanics do their best to look like choir boys. Cheating? Nah. Call it creative engineering. But by the time they line up on Sunday, they'll all be legal. Can you imagine being interviewed while you're trying to do your job? Stop and answer 20 questions before your big presentation with the boss? Sign a few autographs along the way? Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, and Kyle Petty were the hot shoes in practice today. Even if Dale turns the perfect lap, he may not have enough for the pole.
Second lap, slower. 171.996. 171.996.
Dale won't sleep much tonight. Never does when he's got a lot on his mind. He hasn't won a race this year. This week has gone from bad to worse. He can't get his Winston Cup car out of the mud, and now NASCAR drops a bombshell. The type of motor they've been running in the Busch Series is unacceptable as of today. Weeks of preparation are thrown out the window. The car is ready for qualifying, but in what shape? Good enough, it seems, to start 10th. When you buy a ticket for any race that Dale Earnhardt lines up in, it's a given that he'll be at or near the front. But on this Saturday afternoon, that motor change has Dale and his crew chief Tony Eury just rolling the dice.
Shuffle. These guys with the boards, they're concerned about him getting away, and they're going to try their best to hold him back as much as possible.
Chevy puts it right out in front. Going to the top. There's Jack Sprague on the outside from Spring Lake, Michigan. Look at Earnhardt coming up from 10th spot. They move on Bill Parsons on the outside.
Trickle made a strong move to the inside, got under Earnhardt, and when it did, moved Dale up enough that he Jeff Gordon got under him also. Looks like he's going to be in the clear Dale get back.
The Ted Condor car with Dick Trickle at the controls looking good. And here's Jeff Gordon wheeling right back into that Baby Ruth Ford, owned by Bill Davis, fighting with Earnhardt back straightaway. The battle for third. We've got a big incident in turn 2 developing.
Cars going every direction. Saw Nemechek get hit front. His steel car is still coming. Oh, maybe get him slowed down.
4, perhaps 5, 6 cars involved in this crash that's taking place in lap number 26.
Otis is on tight going into the bit, so we might take a little bit of puller out of it. Mike, probably take some fight out of the iron. Any more. Tight getting in, loading that bar. I tell you, on that halfway wheel, unload that bar. Might help out. All right. Let's see what the chassis does on these tires on out through this run. And then halfway we can think about unloading that bar a little bit. Okay. Mark started out running 3280s. Last 30 running 3310s, about the same thing he was running. Good Mark.
The fans may not know it, but they are watching a classic Earnhardt performance. He's down on horsepower to the front runners, but through sheer force of will, he's keeping that black number 3 in the top 5.
Look at Earnhardt come right back up in there. This is a great race.
At the midway point, the teams are allowed to make adjustments to the cars in a 15-minute break. Dale's virtuoso performance has him third at intermission, but unless Tony can magically put some more muscle under the hood, victory may be an impossibility, even for Dale.
They beat me down straightaway so bad it ain't good fun.
Drives his car right down the bottom. He got in behind Dale. Dale's car took off away from him. He got in behind him, took a little air off his car, and his car got away. He said Dale's got major problem. He stopped it. Something happened to him.
The 3 car way off the pace in the main straightaway.
Get the pits tore down. We made the only car we could make. We didn't have nothing no better.
Well, it broke something in the engine, not exactly what, but sure what, but that's the way it goes.
A spin with 200 grand on the line. Rules changes, blown motors, bitter pills to swallow for a 5-time champion. As he heads out now for the last tune-up session before tomorrow's race, the question is, can it get any worse? Dale's immediate family has gathered in their condo high above the racetrack to see if he can turn around this dreadful week. Dale makes his way to the garage area with Teresa and takes in the pre-race show. But you know his mind is on one thing and one thing alone, the 600 miles he must run.
We've been here for 2 solid weeks. All the big hype, all the motors, the Winston, all the practice. Look at this massive humanity running around here. I'll tell you what, Dale Earnhardt's fixing to get in his best element. He's fixing to climb in that race car right there and go 600 miles. Nobody will be bothering him for a little while. I'm going to slip up to the booth and see what happens.
Hey, man. Gentlemen, start your engine!
We're ready for the Coca-Cola 600.
The start is going to be very critical in positioning early in this race. You get shuffled back. These guys will race real hard on this first lap to get a good starting position.
Everybody clear through 1. The back straightaway for the first time on this 1.5 track. And a move on the back straightaway as they stack up. Here's Ricky Rutt going to the lead on the bottom of the racetrack.
This race is such a contradiction for the racers. They must drive hard to avoid falling too far back, yet save their equipment for that final 100 miles.
there, Sonny Irvin. He's going to be battling for all he's worth to keep Rusty back there because another caution flag's going to, if he keeps doing this, you're talking about a 600-mile race. He realistically has got a chance to work his way back in. If he's running big wreck at 3 and 4, cars going everywhere.
Major wreck. Waltrip getting into it. Darrell is in it. I think Michael is up in the wall. And we're going to have 4 or 5 cars KO'd out of this one. Havoc in the 600.
Okay, here we go. We're right in the middle of the corner. Let's see if we can pick up what happens right here. There's Trickle. Trickle sideways because the 30's already sideways in front of him. Let's see if we can pick it up. I don't know if Mike Waltrip just lost it, and that was the start of it. When Waltrip got sideways, Trickle locked him up. Here he comes back down across the track. There comes Davey Allison. He cleared right through it without a problem. There's Gant. Several of the cars get through. But right on back behind this area is where they really, there's Earnhardt. The Gibbs car coming through.
Strike they come. Back in third spot is Jimmy Hensley, and fourth is Ricky Rudd. Fifth, Allison. Sixth, Gant. Seventh, Terry Labonte. Eighth, Kyle Petty. Ninth is Earnhardt. He's picked up a spot.
Lap after lap goes up on the board. The Goodwrench Chevrolet isn't the fastest car on the track, but Dale keeps the leaders in sight. In the pits, Richard Childress keeps an eye on the lap times, formulating his strategy. Dale and the team keep digging. Each pit stop, they get the car a little bit better, and Dale keeps driving his heart out. 8 days of frustration may be coming to an end. 500 miles down and a grueling 100 miles to go. It appears to be a 4-horse race between Kyle Petty, Ernie Irvin, Davey Allison, and Earnhardt.
Back up front with the leaders at lap 340.
Now they're racing. Did you see the 4 car of Ernie Irvin? He knows he needs to get around Kyle. That time Irvin was sideways coming off the second turn. He drove the car so hard off too, he had his car sideways.
Best finish in the 600. Fifth back in 1990. Here he comes on the charge. Kyle Petty trying to hold on. Meanwhile, hiding in the weeds. Number 3, Earnhardt is still a major factor. Here's Earnhardt, somewhat further back on the field, but he isn't out of this thing by any stretch.
The pressure and the blazing Carolina sun have taken their toll on the crew in the pits. They will be called upon to help write the final chapter of this race for Dale Earnhardt.
Here they go in the third turn. We'll be able to tell right here, Ken, if these guys are going to come in. This could be a bad deal for Ernie Irvin. He wanted to pit right then, but the 21 car was under him, and he couldn't get in. He was going to pit with Kyle. He finally got out. He finally got in, but it really cost him some time.
Let's go to Randy Pembert.
Well, I'm waiting on Kyle Petty to come in. He's in. The most critical thing here on this pit stop is that the gas man, Richard Bostic, get both of these 11-gallon fill tanks in this car. The first one is in. They toss the other one over the wall. Robin Pemberton comes around to the left front. The jack goes up on the car. Left side, this is a quick pit stop so far. Second can in again just to make sure it's full. Kyle Petty drops it away. A great pit stop.
Looks like 2 great pit stops, Randy.
Well, Ernie Irvin didn't have quite as great a pit stop. It was almost as good a pit stop, and they got all the fuel in as well, and the 4 tires went on well. No problems with Irvin, but he's going to go out where he started, second.
Earnhardt is pitting number 3. He slides it to a halt. Watch this stop by that Richard Childress crew, Kurt Shalmadine and company, putting them through their paces.
It's going to take 2 laps for us to be able to tell what kind of stop Dale has compared to theirs, because it's going to take him a while to get back up to speed.
For a race fan, it's poetry in motion. 4 tire change, less than 20 seconds. Tank of fuel, and the car comes out.
The pit crew pulls off a clutch performance, as good as you'll ever see, and now Dale must wage war for 50 nail-biting laps.
It was Earnhardt's pit stop and the work of his pit crew that has given him the advantage. It was a brilliant pit stop. We're going to give you another opportunity to enjoy what race fans truly call poetry in motion. Watching that 3 crew when they did the job that has put him into the lead, not on the track, but in the pits. Now there's the interval. There's the 3 car. There's your second place car, Kyle Petty. There's a lap car in between, first and second. And then the yellow car. That's Ernie Irvin, the Kodak car, running third.
It looks like Dale, through 1 and 2, is really good. And it looks like the 4 car of Ernie Irvin is better in 3 and 4. So Dale's got to get through 1 and 2 good because he loses just the least bit of ground right here in 3 and 4. So it's kind of here's Irvin right back on 4. Here's that lap car. See if Labonte gives him room, or he's racing for positions up there. He's still in the hunt himself with some other cars. It's going to be hard for him just to pull over and let him go.
Both of these guys have earned their soul. Earnhardt, a little loose, have earned their stripes, running all those short tracks. Here they come down for 98 this time by. Eddie Hinton wrote years ago, when you win for decades on the Saturday Night Roll Rings, you may not get famous, but you prove you're a man. You're respected by your peers deep down. You see it in their faces, hear it in their voices. And then one day, you are there.
Here's some of this lap traffic we're talking about. They cleared that car without a problem. 2 laps to go.
They are here at Charlotte, the mecca for Winston Cup stock car racing. All these teams, for the most part, over 80% of them based right around here. You win in Charlotte, you've done a day's work.
Right here, getting in this corner right here. This is where the 4 car is strong. Look at him take a look to the outside. Dale's been thinking inside. Ernie takes the outside. White flag.
Final lap is underway. Settles down to 1. He's got one more shot to take. It's Dale Earnhardt in front. Remember what happened to Earnhardt just a week ago on Saturday night with $300,000 at stake when he came to turn 3. God's away.
Got a good lead. He got a good jump off that corner. That was Dale's end. This is the end for number 4, Ernie Irvin. He's better in this corner. But it looks like he drove it in there. The car got up a little high.
Down to finish the 33rd annual Coca-Cola 600. And by 3 4-car lengths, Dale Earnhardt has come home the winner of the Coca-Cola 600 for the second time in his career, his 53rd Winston Cup career victory.
Well, there's Dale's story so far, part 1. There's a lot of racing and a lot of living to do. And nobody does it any more wide open than Dale Earnhardt.